Okay, so let's kick off.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you for coming over today.
Oh, thank you. It's always good to be here.
I know you're very busy with your job and all of your training and your all the things that you manage on a day-to-day basis.
We stay busy.
How are you doing in your training at the moment?
Good. I have had an opportunity to continue to train through the coronavirus. I miss being in a dojo,
Yeah.
but it has been a reminder that we train for ourselves, and we don't necessarily need a dojo and to be standing in class. If you know even some basic things, get out there and do it.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I found ways to train and to focus on things that maybe in a dojo setting I wouldn't have the opportunity to do. So it's always good to make lemonade out of lemons. But
I agree. I mean, we've been through difficult times. Everybody's been through difficult times in the past year and a half or so. But actually, it's also in many ways been a very creative time as we've looked for alternative ways to keep ourselves fit in mind and body, and to keep helping each other as well.
I think so. I think that's right.
And that's a good segue into what you organised recently, the Kangeko online. So a wonderfully received stimulus chance for people to get involved in an online challenge. I love these kind of things myself. I love the idea from the start. But please tell us how it felt to see people take part, the response there.
I was overwhelmed. I got to say, I started with the idea of a lot of people in our own organization who miss being able to associate with each other, to train together. And I thought, if there's a way to do something online to bring people together, that would be have been perfectly satisfied with that. Our good friend Josh Simmers convinced me that we should take it just a step further, and then he lent his technical expertise to it, which really made it pretty successful, I thought, and with your help as well. So the support, the participation was tremendous. It was extremely positive. What I learned through that was, because it wasn't really an instructional thing, it was a challenge. And what I learned was that people want to train. They just need a little bit of an opportunity, maybe, to be challenged, and then a good positive atmosphere. And when you put those things together, challenge people to do their best, make an atmosphere that is constructive, and then people are hungry to work with each other. And we're like-minded as karateka. We have, regardless of the style or the kind of kata we do, we all have at some level this common interest, common goals, that we can always find a way of supporting each other.
It was amazing to see how so many different people around the world, different ages, from kids through to adults, families as units doing it, just inspired to take on the challenge and just sweat a bit and work hard, and then smile all the way through. They loved it. And a lot of them, they didn't seem to stop either. They just carried on and just kept doing more.
So I'm still getting videos of people doing, hey, I did day one, only I put this spin on it, and they're out there thrashing themselves, and it's awesome. It's awesome to see.
I think one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today was the spirit that we've inherited in our Okinawan martial arts heritage. You have I think a pretty deep understanding of Japanese culture and Okinawan culture, having spent years studying it and being very proficient in a language. And like me, therefore, ending up very much often being a bridge and a translator between the two cultures.
Right. What a great opportunity,
isn't
for
it?
both of us, right?
And we often get to re-experience and relearn things again and again.
That's true.
Sort of vicariously through the eyes and ears of those people that we're helping along the way. So that's always a wonderful experience. But one of the aspects that I think marks Okinawan karate apart from other martial arts, and certainly gives it a unique flavour, is the idea of the philosophy that surrounds it.
Yes.
And the philosophy has come down from this Okinawan culture and this class of a warrior class in Okinawa that was given more than the task of dominating society. They were given the task of, let's say, shepherding society, looking after local society and helping everybody to prosper.
Yes.
And they were called the Bushi. And this concept of Bu, the martial way, was something that was written about by many of the prominent teachers.
Right.
Both the Chinese teachers that brought a lot of this culture, martial culture, to Okinawa, but then the Okinawans who became the embodiment of it.
Right.
Behind you on the wall, we have a copy of some of the writings of Matsumoto Sokon.
That's right.
Perhaps the most famous of the Bushi of his time.
Yeah.
And he talked about, Bushi Matsumoto. He talked about Bu. So Bu and the idea of a Bujin, someone that embodies the concept of Bu.
Right.
I wanted to sort of get your feeling on that, and I wanted to give a little context that you are a professional warrior in what you do.
I'm a United States Marine, and I'm an infantryman.
So you have, I think, really quite a special perspective on this kind of thing. So what does the concept of Bu and Bujin mean to you?
Yeah. So I think you're right. I think Okinawa is a little unique. Sometimes we can use the same words to describe something and yet maybe have different meanings that implies different meanings. And I think what's unique to Okinawa is the idea of a Bujin. And sometimes I've seen Bujin and samurai used almost synonymously. Yeah. And yet I think it's I think maybe there's a little different context because the society from which the idea of a Bujin came from in Okinawa is different than the Japanese idea of a samurai. Although in many ways I do think there are some similarities. I mean, samurai comes from the word saburao, which means to serve.
Right.
Bujin literally means a martial person, a person who is martial. But the idea of martial here, I think, takes on a little bit of a deeper meaning that as a Marine, as somebody who has certainly experienced, real combat where literally the opponents were trying to take each other's lives, that it kind of resonates with me. And what I mean by that is that, one, we're not just proficient at the act of violence, at exacting violence on another person. Most of us are born with that in our DNA, and through karate we can refine that. But the idea that Bu embodies both mental, emotional, and physical aspects. Sometimes that's expressed as Shin Gi Tai, and if our heart or our mind isn't right, then we can never truly be a warrior because we won't have the appreciation of the awesome responsibility it is to be proficient at violence. As a leader in combat, knowing when to be violent, when to avoid violence, and then when violence does occur, knowing how to having the maturity, the understanding, the humility to be restrained in exacting that violence. But that comes through deep study, not just study of the techniques, but study of broader things. And so, just like Matsumura sensei talked about, Bunbu Ryodo is that it requires of us a study not only of the physical art, the aspects of exacting violence on another person, but also a deep study of ourselves, an understanding of ourselves, our own spirit, an understanding of the history of the art that we practice, and an understanding of philosophy and how people think and act. And through that, and through the physical aspects, we refine our character so that we don't have to resort to what really, in many cases, is the easiest solution, which is violence. But we have the ability to control that, and so that we don't resort to violence. And I think karate is unique in that the ideas like karate ni sente nashi, there is no first attack in karate, or a martial art where its heroes have been extolled for their ability to avoid conflict. What martial art does that? That, you know, that the ability to avoid conflict, and yet the incredible capability to be violent, and yet the maturity, the intellect to avoid the violence. That's what Bujin to me means, and it means holistic study. Bumbu Yodo.
I suppose there's the proverb, which is it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war, right? Is that the one that's been?
That's right.
That's
yeah,
the one that's been. There's various different ways of saying it, but
yes.
yeah.
I've seen that thrown around, and I think that's right. I mean,
but I wonder if that's as much about a state of mind as an actual, an actual proficiency or an actual vocation, in the sense that in our lives, martial arts provides a way for us to steel our character, to build ourselves, to be ready to be a little more resilient.
Sure, I agree.
And to understand the value of sticking with something, even in the tough times.
That's right.
And also, particularly for not just for ourselves, but for those around us as well.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think through putting ourselves physically through very challenging things, it causes us to develop spiritually, mentally. And when I say spiritually, I mean the strong-mindedness. I also think that, and for me, both in the dojo, but also on the battlefield, that I don't relish combat. I don't relish the fight. I'll say that having been on the battlefield, we're pretty good at it. And I've always fought as a team on the battlefield, not as an individual necessarily. But when the time comes for a fight, we can be pretty effective at finishing a fight, and that is an important thing. But in experiencing that level of violence, that level of intensity, that level of risk, I also have no desire to be violent. I would be happy to live the rest of my life without ever having to go back into a fight, into a battle, whether it's against an opposing force or against another individual, because I've experienced that. And I think through karate, without experiencing the full range of violence to its ultimate outcome, we can at least gain an appreciation for and a degree of maturity and self-confidence that we can, and humility, that we can avoid that fight.
Yeah.